Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This video, I had another one that I was going to do for this specific video, but it was just a lot of trouble when I made it and a lot of background noise, and I think my mom yelled at the dogs or yelled at me to ask me what I was doing. I don't know. So, I'm just going to make that like a regular video, like a process video or on Instagram or whatever, whenever I get to the specific piece, whenever it's like completely finished. I have pieces that are still waiting from resin because I was backed up a lot, and I'm definitely going to have to buy more resin next month because of how backed up I am. Okay, but this is about my recipe for the Sheleeart bloom technique. No, I did not take her course. I substituted my recipe here and there based on other artists' suggestions and stuff from their videos. Now, yeah, my recipe is a little complicated. I'm not going to lie about that, but it's what works for me. If you do exactly how I tell you to do it, it will work. If you don't, I can't guarantee results. Yes, it costs money. You know, I suggest taking the course because there's way more stuff, and you can get in her Facebook group where they tell you ingredients they use and all that. But this is, I didn't take the course. This is part of my own experimentation. So, anyways, here we go. So, I always start with the base paint first. Well, actually, let me just go ahead and tell you this. My recipe has 3 pre-mixed ingredients, okay? I have these squeeze bottles here and a small Mod Podge bottle. I have a really big bottle, but this is the one I use to keep it in because I use that. This right here is 50-50 water and Elmer's glue. I fill it up with water first because it mixes better for some reason, halfway, and then glue the rest of the way. Done. The actual pouring medium that I add to the colored paint is 2/3 of the Valspar High Gloss. Hold on, let me move this stuff. Enamel latex paint. Make sure you can see it. Okay, good enough. Sorry, there's dog hair because I have dogs. It gets everywhere. Base C. You want to make sure you get base C. It's very important. I know if you're using Bare products, it's deep base is basically the same thing as base C. Okay, so there is. Let me blow away the dog hair. So, like I said, there's 2/3 of that, and then there is 1/3 of the Minwax Polycrylic. You can use any polyurethane as long as it is water-based. Since you're using latex and enamel paint, you don't want to get oil-based. It'll just be a mess. Okay, so I put that in another squeezer bottle. You have to shake it before each use because the paint settles. But I fill it up 2/3 of the way, which is about at that line, maybe a little under, with the Valspar. And you want to make sure you mix that well. You can get a paint stick at a Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever kind of home improvement store you have. But I use a paint mixer like this that I stick in my really old drill because I haven't bought a new one because I never use a drill. But I just attach this. That's just to hang it with. I just attach it like a drill bit. Done. Mix it for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. Make sure you swirl it around and it's mixed very good. You got to make sure you do that with the base too, which I'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so that's how I do this. This mix for the actual pouring medium, 2/3 of the Valspar and 1/3 Polycrylic. And this is water and Mod Podge gloss sealer, the red label. It is 2 parts water, 1 part Mod Podge. I don't use a lot of this. I don't know. I just decided to use it, and it helped for some reason. So I didn't want to stop using it because I didn't want to mess anything up. So that's the 3 premixes that I use. Okay, now first thing you need to do, I've got 2 canvases here, but I'm going to do a pseudo swipe with one and a bloom with a little mini. I love my 4x4s. 4x4, 6x6, and 8x8s are my favorite size canvases. I do like 10x10s if you're doing certain techniques. But for my base, which I need to get more, I use the Valspar 2000 paint and primer mix. You want to make sure that you get the high white, and I get it in eggshell because it's matte, but it has a little bit of a shine to it, so it'll help keep the colors nice and vibrant. Now, I don't just put the base right on the canvas because, you know, I'm complicated, so why would I do that? It just didn't work for some reason. Another ingredient you're going to need is the Floetrol, because I'm in the U.S., so that's what I have access to easily. And you can go to any dollar store and buy you one of these for $1 with all different size spoons, because I wanted to make sure I had exact measurements. This is about 4 ounces of the base, which is just a standard small cup. I measured it and it came up to the top line about 4 ounces, so I went with it. So anytime I paint, this is what I go ahead and mix this much at a time. It works like 2 or 3 paintings if they're small. Okay, so for this, you're going to need, you're going to need the tablespoon and the half a tablespoon spoon. Got the tablespoon and the half a tablespoon. Now this is where one of my premixes come in handy. The water and glue mix. I don't have much, but it's enough for today. You just need to put a half a tablespoon. Sorry. Just pour it, put it right in the spoon. Pour it in. This is why I keep paper towels by my side. And then you want to use the Floetrol. Put that up. And you want to use a tablespoon of this. For me, for some reason, the Valspar 2000 is just a little thick, and I don't get very good movement. And in case you're wondering, this is a foot off of a stocking. I didn't have like a little strainer, so I got this. It works. And I used a hair bow to tie. It's all glued now from the Floetrol, but it works. Oh, something fell in. Okay, so I want to do a tablespoon of this. Wait. Sorry, I see a dog hair. I wasn't kidding when I said there's dog hair everywhere. I have an Australian mix, and he sheds so bad. I can't turn it up good because there's a hole in the stocking, and I don't feel like replacing it since I don't have much of this bottle left. Now, I don't have much money to spend on art supplies and stuff, so I had to buy all of this stuff in small increments. So I didn't buy everything at one time. I already had a gallon of glue, I already had the Mod Podge. So I already had all that stuff, so I didn't have to do any of it, buy any of that, so I didn't factor that into the price. But without that, I dropped paper towels. Without that, and just for the 2 Valspar, the base and the excuse me, the base and the pouring medium, Valspar with the Polycrylic, those 3 together was like $70 or something like that. The Polycrylic is pretty expensive. For that small thing, it was like $24. I should have probably just bought a big one, but like I said, I have to buy in increments, so I just bought a small one. Mix this up real good. So right now, I'm hoping that this video will be posted the next couple of days. But right now, my mom is currently in the hospital. last year around the end of February, March, if you have been following me along on Instagram, you already know this, but she had another incident where she had to be put in the hospital. Her kidneys were failing. She had fallen out of bed, broke a leg. All this stuff had happened, and it happened again. Not the breaking of the leg. She didn't break a leg this time, thankfully. Her confusion didn't get too bad before I noticed that something was wrong, what I really needed to look for. So I got my brother involved, and she was whisked off to the hospital. I was able to go visit while she was in the ER. She was still kind of out of it then. But right now, there's no visitors in the regular part of the hospital because of COVID-19. We are trying to start opening stuff back up. We've entered phase 1, but we weren't ready to enter phase 2. So the lockdown has been lifted. Stores are open again, but they have to go by guidelines of how many people is in there, all that, yada, yada, yada. I don't think I need these 2 anymore. I think all I need now is teaspoons. Anyways, so her kidney's failing again. They were able to reverse it. She's losing blood somehow. She's doing better. She was admitted on Tuesday, and if she's not too weak, she can come home on Saturday. It's been rough for her and rough for me and my brother and his family because we can't go visit her. But we talk to her because, trust me, she calls. She's kind of fuzzy on the details of what happened, but she's getting better. That's the important part. So yeah, there's that. So I totally forgot to get cups. Hold on one second. I just grabbed a stack. I'm not going to need that many. Okay. So I have trouble stepping outside of my comfort zone with colors. I like blues and purples, greens, but today I'm kind of stepping out because I'm just doing greens and gold. I'm using the Liquitex Basics Light Green Permanent, Brilliant Yellow Green, Phthalo Green. I don't say the cyan part or however you're supposed to say it. I just say phthalo green because that's what it is. I got Artist Loft Old Gold, but I also bought an Amsterdam Gold, a lighter gold, that I'm going to be using as well. I'm not going to be using this as my cell activator. I'm going to use the titanium white as the cell activator. But I wanted to see how this gold behaves, so I'm going to go ahead and use it this run. For this piece, it's a small one, so if I mess up, it's easy to fix. I can just redo it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me move these over here. I need 5 cups and 5 craft sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how long it's been. How long have we been? Okay, it's only 13 minutes. I'm trying to get this done quick. Okay, so I need popsicle sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 for the cell activator. Alright, so this is how I do my pouring medium for my regular colors that I'm using. Non-cell activator colors. I line my cups up. And then I get a teaspoon of the pouring medium, the Valspar High Gloss base, and the Polycrylic. I get that into a teaspoon, pour it in. Make sure you shake it because it settles after it's been sitting for a while. So just fill it up. Drop it down in there. There's a bug. A gnat. Ah, get away. I never see bugs. I have my front porch window, light on, and dogs going in and out. Bugs find their way in. I need to get a bug light. I usually use those, but it blew and I didn't have one. And I forget. If I don't have anything on the list, I forget to get it. I do. I don't know why that is. Brain fog, whatever. ADD, whatever you want to chalk it up to. So I just kind of scoop what's left in the spoon out amongst the cups. Gives a little extra. Okay. This will need to be wiped out. I'm going to use it again, so bear with me. Usually in my tutorials, or any video I post on Instagram, I don't show the mixing of the paint part because it's the boring part. And most of you will skip through if you don't really want to know my recipe or watch me do it. You'll skip right through, which is fine. Go ahead, do it. You have my permission. It doesn't bother me. I don't get a lot of views anyways. Okay, so after I get the pouring medium in there, I'm going to use the 1/4 of a teaspoon, the little bitty one, with the Mod Podge gloss and water. This is just to kind of help it thin out a little bit. That's why I originally added it. I didn't want to be like add 3 drops of water or whatever. So I already had this mixed up previously. Before I started using resin, this is what I used to varnish my paintings. And it was just sitting in a drawer and I hadn't used it, and perfect opportunity to use it instead of wasting it. Okay. So I just kind of gather it in the spoon. You have to hold it up a little bit because it kind of drips all crazy. But yeah, it's very fluid, so it just kind of helps to... Oh, I poured that in the wrong cup. Sorry, there's a clump of, I guess, some of the gloss. Sorry. Okay. Let's try getting it in the right cup again. Okay. Now for this one. Okay. There we go. Now that part is done. Wipe this out so it don't dry. Okay, now comes the 1/2 tablespoon. You take each paint color. Does anybody else get satisfied peeling that off the bottle? I don't know. I just love to do it. So I kind of just put it down in there and let it plump up like that to like that point. And then I just go ahead and scrape it in a cup. Now this is where it gets tiresome. I kind of wish I had a bunch of these 1/2 teaspoon sitting around, because you got to wipe the paint out of it to keep using it. I get paint all over my fingers doing that, my nails. Okay. Next, that was the light green permanent. Now this is the brilliant yellow green. Scrape it out. The sound is really satisfying. I don't have a mic, so you won't hear it. The sound on my phone is not that great. I have a very cheap phone, and I need a new one. The front part of it, the front-facing camera, has a crack right through it, so I cannot take a selfie to save my life. Because it's like the dark ages where you have to not see yourself when you take the picture. Back when everybody had digital cameras, when that was a big thing in the early 2000s. Now, okay, so this is for the soft body acrylics, is where you use a 1/2 teaspoon. But if you have a high flow acrylic, like, hold on, where is it? Okay, like this, the golden high flow, really just like 5 or 6 drops. If you want it lighter, don't put as much. If you want it darker, put a little bit more. That's basically how it goes. And actually in that one, I do put a little bit, because it's already, you know, high flow. I do not add as much of the Mod Podge gloss. I literally just put a few drops in it. That's all I need when it comes to the high flow acrylics. That's the only one that I have. I've used it a couple times and I'm absolutely in love with it. They're a little expensive. That's the smallest bottle, and it was like $7 or $8, something like that. So it wasn't like super expensive, like out of the question expensive, but it was just a little expensive for my taste. But I really like it, so probably like how I did when I switched from those cheap Craft Smart and Apple Barrel paints. When I switched from that to Artist Loft and Liquitex, I had to slowly build up my paint supply. Now I have quite a few colors. A lot of my comfort colors, but I do have reds and yellows. Since this is gold, I'm not going to wipe it out. I'm just going to go ahead and use what's already in here, because it's just a lighter shade of gold. I didn't know which was best to get, a lighter gold or a darker gold, so I just got the lighter gold. Oh no, peeling the skin off went wrong. Got it all over my finger. Okay. Now, as for the heavy body acrylics, I don't have any heavy body acrylics, so I wouldn't know how much to put in. I would assume maybe like half of the soft body. That sounds about right to me. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Okay, we're at 22 minutes. All I gotta do is mix the paint and then we can start painting. I'm so sorry. But I knew this was going to be a long video from the start because I had to break down my recipe to the 3 people that are watching this. I'm sorry it took so long. Let me just mix this up real quickly. And this is the consistency of it. That won't mix very well, sorry. This is the consistency of the paint. There's a lot of air bubbles in it. But as you can see, it's not like how it would be if you were doing a regular pour. It's a little on the thicker side, but it needs to be. I have learned through trial and error, if you if you don't make it a certain consistency, especially if your base paint consistency is off, the bloom can kind of fold in on itself, if you know what I'm saying. So you gotta kind of watch out for that. And one of my favorite things to do, I haven't branched out into like primary elements, color it or color art, however you say it, pigments. I want to. They look awesome, and I just can't afford that right now. It's hard times because I am not having any of my art shows that I plan to do this year. I have already missed out on 3. 3 have already been canceled, and so a lot of my money has gone down that I'm allotted each month. My parents help support me because if you don't know, I'm disabled. I have physical ailments to where I can't hold an actual job. Like just doing this video for you right now, doing it all together. I normally mix my paints separate from when I paint because of the toll it takes on my back and my pelvis, hip area. All that's kind of messed up. So afterwards, yeah, I'm going to be in a little bit of pain, but I want to get this done so everybody can see how I mix it, so I don't have to like keep doing it for each video. I can just skip right to the pour, which is about what we're about to do now. Alright, so I got this little cute 4x4. I always tape the back and use push pins. And I have wax paper laying down on top of wax paper on top of a large trash bag that covers my entire kitchen table, because I'm working with resin, so I have resin down here on this one. It's dry. I just don't want to get paint on top of it because I don't want to waste it, because I will take this, let it dry, and keep reusing it. I try not to waste. I try not to, but sometimes it's hard. Oh. A little bit of clot there, probably from where I grazed the edge when I was mixing the paint. Okay, so gonna pour here, go kind of around, just leave a little bit on the edge. I'm still trying to figure out how much to put down on larger pieces. For smaller pieces, I pretty much know what I need to put down. But based on other artists, I know that you need to have a nice thick pillow. And I'm still trying to, you know, experiment with using, I'm so sorry. I forgot the cell activator. Ugh, that can sit over there to let some of the bubbles release. I'm so sorry. Okay, so you have to use Amsterdam. I have tried other paints and it just absolutely does not work. For this, you're going to want a teaspoon and a half a teaspoon. So I got the half. Now this is the teaspoon. Get that Floetrol that I just covered up back out. Oh, it's so hard to open this with the hair tie and glue on it. Well, not glue, but you know what I mean. Okay, so we want a teaspoon of Floetrol. Now you want your cell activator to be thinner than your base and then your pigmented paints. Okay, now this is where the glue and water comes back into play. The premix that I talked about. And you're going to do half a teaspoon of this. There we go. Let me wipe this out. And now you're going to do a half a teaspoon of the Amsterdam, whatever color you want to use. I have used the Oxide Black, and I've used the turquoise green so far. As Amsterdam cell activators, I only have a few colors, but I'm branching out, you know. So let me get the half a teaspoon. There's still gold in it. Okay, I got it out. Sorry. Okay, do the same thing when you measure it. Just put it down and wait for it to dome up. I forgot to get the skin off. Wait for it to dome up. It needs a little bit more on there. Just like that. Perfect. Scrape it down. Add a spoon. Now, I usually reuse my craft sticks, but because I usually mix my paint way before I actually paint, and I have a bad habit of leaving the craft stick in it, the other paint starts to come off from it being wet. So I've kind of just started using one side and then the other, and then I just leave them put to the side to use for some other project. So let me mix this up. Show you the consistency. See, it's a lot different from the other colors. Way more runnier. Okay, now let's try this again. So I got my little toothpicks. They were like $1 at the Dollar Tree or something like that. They are solely for the purpose of art. And to get some of the bubbles out of your base, you could use a torch if you want to, but you can also just blow on it because it reacts to the CO2 that you're breathing out. It's the same thing with resin. That's what's popping the bubbles. Whew. Okay. My medicine makes my mouth really dry, so. Okay, I also go in with a little toothpick and try to pick out any of the bubbles that my breath didn't get. Now there's bubbles underneath, and they kind of help with cells, but I just kind of like to poke around a lot with the little toothpick. If I see any like big bubbles, I pop them using my breath. I have used a torch, and it doesn't really make much of a difference whether it's, see, it didn't do anything, nothing that my breath didn't do. So now, when you're laying down your paint, you want to think about how you want to layer it, because the color that I'm going to show you a piece that I've already done. Okay, so the color that you put on the bottom is what's going to come out like this yellow. And then your next layer is what's going to kind of be in the middle of the bloom. And then the color that you have underneath your cell activator, in this case, was purple. As you can see, it kind of sinks down in the purple and makes it two different colors. So this is what you kind of need to think about, like which color do you want to be on the outside. And I also have heard other people say if you're using transparent colors, like the primary element colors and stuff like that, paints, those have to be put on the bottom. That's just what people say. I haven't used them, so I'm just going by other people's word, and I trust them. They know what they're doing. So that's how I think about how I want to layer my paints. So for this, I want to kind of do the golds on the bottom, because they'll be, you know, throughout the entire piece, and when I put resin, they'll really pop. So I'm going to start with the Amsterdam acrylic, the light gold, is that what they call it? Yeah, light gold, that's simple. Okay. I'm just going to take a little bitty dot. You don't need a lot, because your color is going to go over top of your base so that you can stretch it out. You don't need a lot. Okay, now I'm going to add the Artist Loft Old Gold. It's not much of a difference in color. It looks way different in the bottle. I mean, you can tell there's a difference, but not as much as I expected it to be. So now I'm going to do the Brilliant Yellow Green. And I love this color. I'm going to show you a piece that I did using it with, I think I used phthalo blue or something, or turquoise blue. It has resin on it, so it's been sanded where it's where I have to do the next layer. But you see how it's kind of spread out, and there's gold in it too, kind of peeking out. So that's the top of a box. See, the underside is painted like a little cardboard paper box that you would just put treasures in. I made a smaller one for my mom, and I did a heart one. I did a dip for that one. The tutorial is actually on my channel. You can go find it if you want to. So now the Brilliant Yellow Green. Now I'm going to do the Light Permanent Green. I like to put the lighter colors on the bottom and the darker colors on the top. I don't know why. That's how I like to do it. Okay. Now for the phthalo. The kitchen table isn't that level, so it kind of moves a little. Now the phthalo green. Okay. Now I have a hard time with how much cell activator to add. We're at 33 minutes. That's not bad, y'all. If you can't tell, I'm from the South. I say y'all a lot. I'm also one of those that says over yonder. I have friends that are Southern and they don't say that, and they laugh at me. But it's okay, because it makes me who I am. I just laugh with them and say, yeah, I know, I'm country. So I am trying to learn how not to put too much cell activator, because then I have way too much in the middle and it's not enough of the webbing or lacing or cells, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Just one little scoop off my craft stick. I'm going to lift it up to blow. Usually I get all up in the camera. You might be able to see me. But I just gently blow the white over the other colors. I don't blow hard. My blooms don't look like anybody else's because I blow them weird. I don't know. Anyways, here I go. Okay, so there's my little bloom. Ta-da. I found that the part that I like the most out of the bloom is what I need to put off first because it will stretch out. I really love this area through here, and you can kind of see the gold underneath the green. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch that way and bring it back up. I don't want it to go off too much. Okay. And then with this base paint, there's a lot of air bubbles on the bottom. So when you're like this and you just gently blow, you see all these extra cells pop up from the bubbles. Okay, so now I'm going to stretch this way. Okay. Now I'm going to stretch back that way. Bring this side down. Okay. And I don't know if you can tell, I don't have the best light. Let me turn the flash on. Ah, sorry. There, okay. I don't know if you can tell, but see how the gold is just behind, underneath the webbing, and that's kind of what I wanted, so that when I put the resin on there, all that shimmer, you know, you'll really be able to see it. So that's what I think about when I layer my colors. What do I want to be the main color underneath everything? And that's how I do it. Let me get this flash back off before my phone gets too hot. Had to bring in extra lights and everything. So I'm just going to do a little bit more stretching and tilting to try to get this corner looking how I want it to look. There we go. Bring it down. I kind of do this so that I get a really good movement in my pieces. Okay. And I think this is how I'm going to leave it. I try my best not to get paint all over me. When my nail tech sees my hands, sees my paint on my fingernails. I like painted the night I got my nails done, and the paint got stuck on my fingernail, and I haven't been able to get it off. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay. So, I'm just going to touch up the edges a little bit where it didn't quite stretch on the corners. I struggle with how much base I should put down, but I don't want to put too much base and kind of just stretch out the entire bloom, and you can't even tell it's a bloom anymore. I don't like to do that. So, if I just can't get the itty bitty corners, I just go in with my base color and tip them off. I don't worry about getting paint on the entire sides of the canvas because I really like the natural flow of the paint off the side of the canvas. So that's how I do it. This is just one of my little mini blooms. I'm going to do a matching one, but it's going to be a pseudo swipe. I've only done 2 of those so far. I really like the pieces. I can't wait to get resin on them and get the video. Well, I can't even remember if I recorded it because I used to mess up so much in the beginning. I didn't even want to record myself for fear of messing up. So I'm just going to blow lightly to see if there are any more air bubbles, so that it don't cause an issue when it dries. So this I'll just sit to the side. It'll probably be dry by like midday tomorrow. But I'm going to bring y'all in for a close-up so you can see the shimmer that I see. Okay, so I'm bringing you in for the close-up. Now, I have my recipe down in the description. You can go grab it, copy it, do whatever you want with it. Just want to share what I can do and hopefully help other people do it. So here's a cute little 4x4 mini. Hopefully the next video I post will be of her pseudo swipe big sister. So don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you'll be notified when I post, which isn't often, I'm afraid. I'm going to get better at posting more. But anyways, thank you. I love all of you. Bye.